Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Let's talk about Proterra, but we're also going to be talking about stock splits because we just had GameStop happen and we've got Google coming up, and you're looking to put money somewhere, right? You want it to grow, you deserve a win. And I think we need to reset. We need to rethink. We need to make sure we're taking a look at low risk plays and putting that money to work. You need some wins. You need to take some profits. And in the last Proterra video that I did, I talked about that $5 call option. And I want to talk about it more in this video because here's an opportunity to take some off the table and to be safe, or to just hold it long term. Because if we did that 2023 call option, and for those of you that haven't watched that video, the last Proterra versus Lion Electric video, I did a comparison between Proterra and Lion Electric to say, look, both of these look like they're really low. So how do we do a comparison? You should always take one stock, compare it to market dynamics, or at least something in the market that's similar. Of course, these aren't identical, but we wanted to take a look at a few fundamentals. We don't have a scorecard or anything, but I did some due diligence. I presented you with that information. We busted through that 52-week low with Proterra. Again, we reconfirmed a bottom, and now we have an opportunity to take some money off the table. Do we do that, or is it too soon? Let's take a look at it. Let's get straight into the video. All right, so let me orient you with the chart. First off, we've got the 4-hour chart, which just gives us a slightly longer time frame. And I believe we can respect the RSI a little more in the long-term time frame. And what I'm looking for is, where has this been rejected, or where has it met resistance in the past? And you can see that it has not wanted here recently to go past this 50 on the RSI. So that's the first indicator I'm looking at. The next thing that I'm looking at is my moving average, or this dark white line, which is going to be my 20 EMA. You can see it runs all the way through here, and as it gets above it, it typically gets rejected. So I've got one rejection point here, and I've got a rejection point here, typically. Now, a press release, news, economic development, anything could happen to cause this to continue to uptrend. So the next thing I'm going to look at is my candlesticks. Historically, after they've had this bullish sentiment, have they continued in the past, and has it continued to run up? Right now it just looks like we're getting lower lows. So this low was here, then it kind of went up for a little while, but then it retreated back. So right here is a point where traditionally in the past, it has continued to run up. And we've met some resistance right here around the $7 mark, almost the $7 mark. Now, if you want to hit trend lines and say, okay, where over the long term, where has it hit resistance on multiple points over the last 30 days, you could look down here on the calendar and say, between June and July, how many points have I hit and gotten rejected? You could put it and say, look, this looks like there's multiple points here. And of course, we have the potential to run over. You could say that a good rejection point in the future could potentially be, 582 right here. And that would put us hitting this 100 on the EMA. So this green or aqua color that you see running through the chart, but this is what you're counting on, that it's going to come up here and get rejected right around this point. So we have to look at macroeconomic factors, and we know the CPI numbers on the 13th are coming out. So we have a little bit of time, but do you take profits here if it doesn't break above and it's showing some resistance here at the 50 on the RSI? So that's where you have to make the decision. If you're super conservative, then you take profits tomorrow, or you took them before close today. Because if we look at the charts from the bottom down here, if you bought down here, that was a 20% run up almost. It was 18%. So if you waited for that call option that I talked about in the last video, I said you want to buy this at 85 to 75. If you put price points and you bought one contract at 85, one at 80, one at 75, one at 70, or you did 2, 4, 6, 8, and you increase the amount of contracts at the, just buying them as it dropped further, you were buying more, then you're in a good position. Now, if we look at that January 20th of 2023 price for that $5 call option, that was at 75 cents. It was at 75 cents. Now the ask price is $1.35, and it's starting to pull back a little bit, but you can see there's a little bit of a 20% increase, not much. There were 11 contracts traded, and if this doesn't make sense to anybody because you don't know how to trade options or contracts, it's very simple. You just believe that the price is going to go up, and you want to set a price lower than the market price, and that's what we're seeing. Now it's in the money. That $5 option price is in the money, and if you've got multiple contracts, you have the option to exercise those before the end of the year. I don't think it's going to get too much better this next quarter, but they do have a new president, and I think there are some positive catalysts to come up for the stock. Now let's switch gears. I want to talk about the stock split, and the reason that I saved this is because I understand that a lot of you that own Proterra shares, maybe you're not interested in diversifying the way you're thinking, and maybe you got a huge allocation spend here. I would suggest that you're taking some of that money and just doing some things that are absolutely guaranteed in the market, and that is these announcements for the 4-to-1 stock split that was effective for July. I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but that was a catalyst. I put it on the community tab and talked about this. GameStop announced their 4-to-1 stock split, and a lot of people are like, do they even need it? I mean, the price really isn't that high, but it's going to increase liquidity, and they know who their target audience is. So it hasn't even actually happened yet and had that run up. I expect to see a little bit of a pullback there. But what we want to look at is the next execution of Google. Now, July 15th, that's right after CPI numbers come out. So if Google pulls back, July 15th comes, there may be an opportunity on the 13th or 14th before this comes out. If people are so busy talking about CPI, there may be an opportunity to get in on Google before it splits and then enjoy that write-up of the price when people buy that up after it splits. I believe there's going to be some new money coming in. So there's a great opportunity for those of you that have, a few $1,000s to buy Google or even fractional shares. Some of your brokerages will allow you to buy fractional shares. I think there's a huge opportunity here. There was news from Simply Wall Street that came out that just talked about the diversification of institutional ownership and inside ownership. If you haven't checked it out, I thought that this was all positive news for Proterra. So those are my final thoughts on Proterra, and if you appreciate these videos, you can contribute to the channel by joining the Patreon where I talk about other stocks. I'm going to be putting my July picks in there. So that's all I got. We're going to keep this one short. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.